the Boots, a pivotal figure in that first half, to say the least. Melbourne City 2-0 up. That's 8 goals without reply in derbies this season. Paddy Kisnorbo is the man masterminding things. What do you want to get out of this second half, Paddy?
Yeah, I think we need to raise the intensity a little bit. I wasn't happy with the first half, and keep possession and take the process that we need to do and play our game.
So, Paddy, how do you measure that? At the end of 90 minutes, is it more than just the 3 points? What are your indicators?
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, I don't really look at the points or the score. I look at more of the way we sort of break down things in areas that we need to. So, look, we'll see after the game how it all pans out. Thanks
for your time.
Thank you.
Playing against 10 men after the first half expulsion of Adama Traore. Bredman making the change, Falami off. Brandon Lawton on, who just stopped Naboot moments ago to get a resounding reception from the Victory fans who are behind this goal, which City attack.
Can I have a stab in the dark at something, Speedy? The Melbourne City fans watching, I'd say we're dying to hear their coach say, we want to rub their nose in it. We want to hit them for 10. Or am I imagining another world?
10 would be quite something. That would be another A-League record. They provided one, a derby record in that last meeting. Highest ever score in a Melbourne derby, biggest ever margin. Wilson Griffiths just can't get out of the way at the moment. Lawton, great little burst of speed. Rory Latanzio alongside, who has been unable to get into the game.
Now, let me just clarify that I'm not expecting a blowout like that, but if you're a fan of Melbourne City, after all the things you've had to sit back and watch Victory achieve over the years, now's the night to exact some revenge.
Never won the Premier's Plate, Melbourne City. League, that is, of course. Silverware for them coming in the form of an FFA Cup, beaten in last year's grand final. So many are predicting they're on their way to silverware in this A-League campaign. Lovely delay on the pass again. Naboot in behind, and it ricocheted up into that top corner. That was great reactions from Acton.
Wasn't it just? Great burst of speed. Bad read. And Lawton at left fullback. It's a beautiful ball in behind, though, once that dummy had been sold by Naboot. Great speed by here as well to get into the penalty area. And that Acton with impressive reflexes.
Set for a busy second half. McManaman. Time Brimmer was available. Look at the work rate of Andrew Naboot to track back. Those two were exchanging pleasantries behind their cupped hands just before the second half got underway. Andrew Naboot's wary of the lip readers, Harps, wary that you might pick up on something.
It was a COVID precaution, Speedy.
Perth Glory player this season after leaving the Melbourne Victory. Reassessed that. Melbourne City sensed he was available, made the offer that enticed Naboot to switch sides in Melbourne. Turned down that move to the west. And sliding doors and all that. What an asset he has been to Melbourne City this season. Away cleanly enough by Roston Griffiths as Laurie Latanzio looked to the ref asking for something.
Come on, wait!
schedule of late Melbourne City. 1-1 draw in Sydney FC. Before that was the trip to Wellington, where they won that 5-goal thriller. Wollongong, rather, against Wellington. Defeated here before that against Western United. So maybe in the back of their minds, they might be thinking we can afford to switch off in this second half and just coast through. As Andy Harper has identified, their fans want them to be ruthless and rack up another score. Who's that last touch off? It is Laurie Latanzio for a corner. He's getting no change out of Crispy. Still enjoying themselves in the away end. Team hasn't given them much to cheer about right throughout this season. The Victory fans are a loyal bunch. Being squeezed in. Gives it up to Jamison. Austin Griffiths with all kinds of time on the ball. Adrian Luna happy to shoot from long range.
Well, these are the moments. Paddy Kusnorbo doesn't measure, be one of the few coaches in the world who doesn't measure results by a scoreline. But these are some of the areas that he is talking about, not letting Victory play out through the press, working that little bit harder. Make sure that Victory can't get a sniff in the final third at all. So far, Victory have got the ball this far and then been turned away in the second half.
One goal would provide City with a wake-up call if they can halve the deficit. Seen some famous turnarounds against Melbourne City. Also, when teams have been reduced to 10 men. Be a chance to utilise that bench for Paddy Gisnorbo. The likes of Kolakowski and Tilio have been brilliant. Got Aidan O'Neill available for the first time in a long time tonight. Magnoon trying to slide one through for Metcalf. Energy levels are off the charts for this guy, Alan McManaman. Popping up everywhere for the Victory. Couldn't make that one stick, and here comes City again. Andrew in the boots takes on that long-range strike.
Well, just two shots from distance. One burst into the box from the boot earlier in the second half. Really, it's been Adrian Luna with a shot from distance and down the boot, forcing Matty Acton to scramble across his box, but never really troubled.
Thompson, what are you making of the way City are going about it since half-time?
Well, look, I think they've been superb. I know with Melbourne Victory, even when they did have 11 men on the field, it's just that their moments were going to come in transition, because the way that Melbourne City set up, it makes it so difficult to break it down, and that was probably the only way that Victory were going to break it down, was by using the speed and breaking fast. I see now, okay, they're down to 10 men, but when they do break, they don't push any men forward, so it's almost like the one that breaks carrying the ball has to do it all on his own. I just feel like that, okay, they've got enough quality on the bench when you look at who's there with Robbie Cruz, Cam Sober. I'd be trying, if I was Grant Brebner, to try get as much as I can out of those forward players when they break forward, because at the moment one breaks and no one's going with it, and when they do, Melbourne City just seem to come back in numbers and really shut it down very quickly.
Could that be a subconscious thing for these Victory players, perhaps, Harps, that They know if they commit too many players forward, they'll be ripped apart the other way on the counter.
I just think it's the state of things at the moment. You know, they're in such poor shape as a football team. One win against Newcastle, who are second bottom, is not really going to charge your veins with energy. It's a stay of execution. But it did give them an opportunity to come in with a little bit of a fresher mind here, I guess. And then conceding of the goal, and then the Traore send-off, then the penalty. Sort of put all that to rest in the short term. We're asking a team that's been on a downward trajectory for a little bit of time now to all of a sudden turn that around against one of the comp's best outfits. Big ask.
City fans starting to stand for their team. 55 minutes in. City, the first of these clubs to 50 goals in this fixture so far as the A-League meetings are concerned. They also won the only FFA Cup clash, which was a semi-final by a 2-0 scoreline as well. Came into the night locked up at 48 goals apiece in A-League derbies. Conceded 37 goals this season. 16th game in. Lawton has shown a bit since coming on. Always does. It's Butterfield. There's two to contend with. Norbo keeping his team honest. About 20 points between these two clubs at polar opposites on the A-League ladder. Goal difference at -22, just not what you associate with the Melbourne Victory, who hold on to that title as the biggest club in the land. Now Noon. Jamison got out of the way, and that deflection could have gone anywhere. Fortunately for Anderson, just out for a corner.
Well, coming up to 15 minutes since the restart, there was a barrage of corners in the first half from which Melbourne Victory had very little means of escape. It was more the poor finishing from Melbourne City that meant that those corners didn't yield more goals. 15 minutes in this second half, the first corner we've had, I think. An indication of how gently City have been going.
Latanzio guarding that near post. Metcalf. Maclaren was trying to bend his run, and he's been spotted by Jamison here. Turns provider, does he? Craig Noon side netting. Brilliant by Maclaren again.
That was a great chance. This is a beautiful ball from Scotty Jamison. And Maclaren in good position. I don't think he makes the contact he wants. He sort of slices it a little bit. Still a great chance for Noon. And the closest they've come, Melbourne City in this second half, to extending their lead.
So it is the experience of Robbie Cruz, who missed the one game. Back in for Laurie Latanzio and Alan McManaman, who showcased all of his skill tonight with no ultimate reward. Replaced by Elvis Campsober, himself sent off recently for the Victory. set up for a potential of playing out short and then just wave everyone forward and take another 20 seconds to take the goal kick. Welcome to modern day football, Harps.
Well, when you're 12th on the ladder, down 2-0 and minus a man, you're going to take whatever you can.
No time-wasting loopholes. Lawton stood up to Naboot's challenge that time. Arnett got caught on the blind side by Luna, who wants it back here. Again, Maclaren's link-up play, outstanding. Jamison let it roll for Metcalf. Back post, who wants it? Adrian Luna didn't go for it, since he couldn't get on the end of things aerially. City in pursuit of picture book goals, and that's an important flick by Dylan Ryan, because Luna fancied the header that time.
And important that he's retaken the field. There was a moment in the first half when Dylan Ryan looked like he mightn't have been long for this game. His left knee is heavily strapped and he was pretty proppy on it. And he showed his value then, glancing that header to safety.
Rage this time, the third Melbourne City big man to get on the end of things from corners, but be unable to test Acton. And it is a welcome return to A-League action for Aidan O'Neill, who will slot into that Roston Griffiths position. Always exciting to see Marco Tilio get game time like this. A good half an hour to show us what he has got. And this might give City a bit of a pick-up in this second half.
Well, the pace hasn't been on from Melbourne City. I'm not sure if that's the plan for Paddy Kisnorbo, if these substitutions are an indication that he's not quite happy with the level of intensity. We'll see.
Marco Tilio, who earned that priceless late spot kick at Leichhardt Oval against Sydney FC, which Maclaren converted. Scored the winner against Wellington. Comes into a great situation to showcase his attacking class again. All 5 shots in the second half have come from the team on top. Victory yet to get a ball into the penalty area since the break. Substitutes combined there. O'Neill and Tilio. Marco Tilio, great ball in, and Jamie Maclaren heads home his second and says to Marco Tilio, welcome to the party, young man. He put it on a dime for City's number 9.
Well, it's taken 20 minutes of the second half, and the first touch from a substitute, Marco Tilio, to put the ball into the dangerous area, where the Melbourne Victory central defence again was completely out of alignment. In between the two centre halves goes Jamie Maclaren. He glances the ball home for his second, Melbourne City's third.
Closing in on the 100, and look at that record at this venue. 23 and 29. Any goal scoring ratio you want to put up for this guy is phenomenal. He's 27 years of age. How many A-League goals is he going to score? We've only ever had one hat-trick in the history of this Melbourne derby. Bessart Berisha, who else, back in 2014-15. He'll be tuning in the team hotel in Tassie right now, you'd imagine. Maybe they're back on the flight. Marco Tilio's service just reminded me of a bit of Daniel Arzani magic for Ross McCormack when those two used to team up. I think he went with the no-looker in the end. He knew where Maclaren was, so the little look away might have taken the victory defender out of the equation. That was oh so handy, Archie Thompson.
Yeah, I spoke to the assistant coach about Marco Tilio just before this game, and because after a match he said he was disappointed he wasn't getting enough football time, but they sat down with him and showed him the impact that he's having over the last few games and minutes, and you can see with the quality he has. I mean, we talked about the game against Sydney FC. When he came on, he made that immediate impact. He comes on, he scores a winner against Wellington. These are the sort of things that you want from your young players. You want that impact. And even talking to Jamie Maclaren after the Sydney FC game, I did ask him about the young players, and he said that, you know, he's been really proud of their effort and their work rate, and they're wanting to learn. And even, I guess, too, seeing Aidan O'Neill come back into that position too, it just relieves a little pressure, I think, off Roston Griffith, who's been outstanding in that position when he's had to be there. So I think that little rotation's fantastic. But when you've got that young quality that comes on and makes that impact, you're going to see more game time from him.
Yep, just his 13th A-League appearance for Marco Tilio. Already 2 goals and assists to his name as well. And here he is, nodding it down, finding Maclaren again. Oh, kicked out by Acton, denies Maclaren his hat-trick with a super save.
Well, the ball bounced off Jay Barnett's arm as well. No appeals for a penalty. Maclaren got some good contact on this. Ball bouncing around. Just watch out for Jay Barnett here. Deflected off his own hand. Own leg into the hand. It's a brilliant save. Let's enjoy Matty Acton's work. That was outstanding.
Short corner routine. Robbie Cruz heading it to Cam Sober. And turn back into trouble. Marco Tilio was on the books of Sydney FC. I thought he was the standout for their youth team that won the grand final against the Victory in January of last year. Melbourne City made their advance, and that's why he didn't feature in the grand final for Sydney FC. They sensed that he was on the move.
And it was not an outcome I don't think that Sydney FC were very keenly anticipating. Pretty keen to have kept Marco as one of theirs, but players move. Sense other opportunities, different atmospheres, plenty of things they think about. He's done well in the very limited moments. He's been a senior Melbourne City player. He's done very, very well. No surprise there. He's got immense talent.
Scott Jamieson, the perfectionist, is working on talking to Tilio about where you should be. He talked to Aidan O'Neill about where that pass should have gone a moment ago. He's the on-field coach for this City team. And Curtis Good really taking up proactive positions here in the Victory half. Little deflection from Metcalf was clever for Jamieson. Sold Aidan O'Neill into a bit of bother there, and Butterfield couldn't maintain possession for the Victory.
Well, there's playing against 10 men. And there's playing against 10 men who probably started the game nervous they weren't going to be able to match it. And now they're most squarely in the mindset of not getting hammered here. And sort of changes maybe what Melbourne City might expect out of the game, certainly what their supporters might want to achieve out of the game. There's almost no threat of them losing this game now. Were heavy favourites at kickoff, 11v11.
They can't look to the last man to score for them in a derby for any inspiration anymore. Ulla Toivonen scored the last 3 Victory goals in derbies. long time ago now. City right on track for 3 consecutive wins in this fixture. The boot. Support from Galloway if he wants him. Breaks that man's way. These 2 former Victory players will be enjoying this night. Cruz played through a challenge or 2 from Galloway earlier. Saw off the threat of O'Neill, but overhit it for Elvis. Let's get down to Michael Zapponi again.
Yeah, you touch on Jamie Maclaren, his impressive record this season. Speedy, well, the brace tonight sees him break the record. So fastest to 16 goals set by Bobo in his first stint at Sydney FC. Outstanding from Jamie Maclaren. 95 goals in his A-League career now. Not too far from you now, Harps.
Do you protect your record like Archie did?
No.
101 Dalmatians and 101 National League goals. Oh, Tilio, brilliant. Jamison letting him down, perhaps not anticipating the pass that was on point again from the substitute. I actually made the point on social media that Marco Tilio appeared to be frustrated in that post-match interview about a lack of game time at City. Scott Jamison was sitting back on the couch back in Melbourne and said, "Pipe down, Speedy. I know what this club knows what they're doing with their young talent." Tilio keeps coming to the boil. Maybe they are getting it right. Lets it roll to Tilio again to shape up against Rue. And left by Anderson after the shout from Acton.
It was a decent offering again from Tilio. Fired the ball into the near post. Within his rights to expect one of the Melbourne City players to be there. This is better pressing from City, better intensity.
A risky throw, but Robbie Cruz made it work. Adjustment that came at half-time. Lawton did go into that left-back position, left vacant by Traore, which I thought was going to happen at the time. That's why I was a little confused. And it's almost as though the coaching staff said to Brandon Lawton, "You want to play left-back, mate, at half-time?" "Yeah, well, OK, we'll switch it back to that and put Dylan Ryan back in the middle." It's as though they didn't have that scenario catered for at the time, perhaps.
The way things have panned out the last 18 months at Melbourne Victory, anything might or might not have happened.
That pass just got there. Galloway stepped up at the right time. Adrian Luna, probably underrated in this City lineup. Maclaren scoring all the goals and the boot providing so many highlights. That's a penalty. Chris Beath gives it. Marco Tilio has earned the spot kick off Jake Brimmer. And the smarts of this young man out of Sydney, Marco Tilio, on full display in another cameo.
Well, he won the penalty to secure a point last week against Sydney. And Jake Brimmer was never in the contest there. He wasn't in a position to tackle. His starting position was woefully short. And concedes a spot kick.
Another shot at history for J-Mac. He's equal record holder with Besart Berisha for A-League hat-tricks. They've got 5 each. This to be the first man to 6. in A-League history. Jamie Maclaren dispatches his second spot kick of the night, and it is hat-trick time and match ball again for Jamie Maclaren, who looks uncatchable in the Golden Boot race. And Marco Tilio has a couple of assists and gets a well-earned pat on the head again.
Well, he's done well, Tilio, although the truth was he didn't have to do much to get past Bremer and win the penalty. And he's sure as eggs from the spot, this bloke. Matt Acton can do nothing about it. He's stopped a couple of good chances in this second half, but from the spot, no chance.
And now he's got the captain's armband to boot as Scott Jamieson takes an early mark and provides an ovation of his own back to the fans for all of their support tonight. Andrew Naboots also making way for Stefan Kolakowski, the young Melbourne City / Heart supporter, as a young man who scored in the last derby to round off the 6-0 hammering. 6-0 very much on again. Just the second Melbourne derby hat-trick. Jamie Maclaren matches what Besar Barisha did 6 or 7 years ago. And he stays out there for more. Metcalf. He showed everyone where it was going, and Jake Bremer picked it off. They're inside the penalty area. The victory and the shots. Oh, top glover. Where is it? He's mighty relieved to see it go out for the corner as it pinballed back onto his head for the Falcon.
Well, it's a special effort, this, from Jake Bremer. He can hit a ball. Edge of the box. He links up with Campsoba nicely. Elvis's route to goal is blocked, so he turns out. It's an amazing angle. And he's beautiful on the ball, particularly from these sorts of situations. Bremer and Glover, where is it? It's gone in. A few.
That's the way you're supposed to bat them from that side of the pitch here at Amy Park. Jake Bremer curling it for that back post. And the boot struck the woodwork with the spin going the other way, and it still went in for the opening goal of the night. As we check in with Archie again.
I just noticed something from the Melbourne City bench. When that goal went in, Paddy Gasnorbo signalled to Tommy Glover, switch on, I want that intensity. And when you've got that intensity level, when you're already 4-0 up from your manager, it just spills out onto the pitch. And that's something that I've noticed really a lot with the way that Melbourne City start games, even in their warm-up. There's a way that he drives a lot of things, and it certainly filters down to the players. And one thing for Melbourne Victory, with that little opportunity that they had, it was the first time that they really looked to play forward on the shoulders. I think I'd like to see him play more balls in behind and try to utilise that speed of Robbie Cruz and Campsoba, maybe out in these wide areas. But that intensity level that Paddy Gasnorbo showed just shows where this club's at.
There'll be a big debrief at full-time again tonight. Archie Thompson, the Melbourne Victory club legend, in the post-game show with Michael Zapponi. We'll hear from Grant Brebner. That's 10 goals unanswered now in Melbourne derbies this season. Still 15 minutes of game time or so to go, and Maclaren was about to swing a boot at that one. Dylan Ryan hobbling away again. Barnett's still busy. Butterfield able to switch it out to Root, who left it behind and dragged back Tilio and asks for a yellow card, doesn't it? No, that's just a foul.
Should have got one. Tilio was away. The mercy rule applied there by referee Chris Beath.
Another of the goal scorers in the last derby, Florent Berenguer, who dropped out of the starting lineup today. Paddy Gasnorbo certainly working his bench. after he made just the solitary change in that loss to Western United here not that long ago.
And speaking of bench players not getting much game time, Naoki Tsubaki hasn't been sighted off nobbies. He must be wondering when he's going to get some time on the field. There's a lot of quality they've got to work through at Melbourne City.
It won't be tonight because Norbo's made all 5 changes and Tilio pulled the wrong rein for once. Trying to get Garuccio back in behind. The bench just gave him a little spray. Penticus Norbo said, "What are you doing, Parker? Don't get you the ball away, mate." Garuccio catching Jake Bremer and prompting the whistle. Penny for your thoughts, Grant Brebner. Doesn't have a whole lot of fond history to look back on in derbies. Only won 1 of 5 as a player. Did, of course, play his part in 2 championships under Ernie Merrick a long time ago now. Nicked away by O'Neill, helped on to Maclaren, who's in behind. And the stretch from Anderson had to be clean, and it was.
There's a good recovery from the youngster. To see away Jamie Maclaren, who's already picked up 3 goals. And just for a second thought I might be on for a 4th. Indeed, he's already had Matt Acton deny him spectacularly.
Tilio just opening up the angle. Uses Ben Garuccio. And a little fingertip off Matt Acton. It's another top-class save.
Yeah, comfortable. Nice effort from Ben Garuccio. Angling for that far corner.
Acton wearing that captain's armband since the departure of Adama Traore. Sent off for serious foul play. Blazing away Tilio. Trying a bit of Hollywood on that occasion, but that was the save by Acton.
Who, having had to pull the ball out of his goal 4 times, can't be blamed for any of those.
Kolakowski will turn 21 next week. Marco Tilio hasn't found a teammate with his last couple of efforts. Played the safe ball to Garuccio that time. Kolakowski on the move. O'Neill's found him, and the header for Maclaren. He scored 4 in a derby. That is a new benchmark. And he's loving the service of the substitutes. First Tilio, and now Kolakowski.
Well, the fans are counting Maclaren's efforts. Kolakowski's loving this, a boyhood fan of the club. And it's a dream come true for him to be plunging this dagger into the victory hearts. It's pretty woeful defending in the centre. Maclaren that much speed, space, edge of the box. There's no recovery, no repositioning. They've been hit for 5. There might be more.
First man to score 4 goals in an A-League match for 6 years. Not since Blake Powell.
Wellington Phoenix.
Yeah, against the Wanderers. In that bizarre result that no one saw coming out at Wonderland. He wants number 5. Maclaren! Second man since Archie Thompson to score 5 in an A-League game. And it's that same scoreline again, Melbourne. Melbourne City fans. Get the number 6s out again.
Well, the wet paper bag, parading itself as the Melbourne victory defence, has just been ripped apart finally. This is heaven with a 6th for City. He doesn't need any more invitations. He doesn't need any more opportunities. Luna threading the ball. Maclaren first time, Acton at full stretch. He's been like a shag on a rock. Poor old Matty Acton tonight. And he gives as much as he can to the orb as he thumps it halfway. And the victory fans ask of Grant Brebner, how much more pain?
Does he survive this, Andy?
Well, it hasn't finished yet, Speedy. And now is when Paddy Kusnorbo will be driving his team for more.
Tilio, who won it back in the lead up to that last goal. Luna! 7th heaven for the City fans and their players in a derby. They're flying in at the moment.
Well, I sort of suggested 10 at the start of the half as some sort of indication, and they might just get there because he's fizzed that one. Back of the net, the Uruguayan, fine player, deserves a goal. Tilio teasing, square across the penalty area, running around the navy blue witches' hats. And Luna says, cop this.
An early celebration ahead of his 29th birthday for the Uruguayan, goal number 8 in his A-League career. And another scoreline to send shockwaves through the Melbourne victory and their power brokers.
Now they've got the taste, Speedy. Now they've got the taste, and they're Melbourne victory footballers at the moment wishing they were boxers so the coach could throw in the towel.
Tilio's cameo. He had 2 assists in his career coming into tonight. He's got 3 in 25 minutes here this evening. And here's Luna. Maclaren. Archie Thompson not sitting easy at the moment. He was for a long time all alone. He was the only man to score 5 goals in an A-League game. He doesn't want to watch Jamie Maclaren score 6 and overtake him. Archie Thompson, what a performance from J-Mac tonight.
Yeah, incredible, and it certainly doesn't help when, well, it helps him when Melbourne victory just give up so many cheap errors in such key parts of the field, and it's just like under 8s at the moment when you look at the Melbourne victory, the way that they're defending and the amount of space that is allowed to the Melbourne City players. I mean, that goal that was just scored, there was no foot being put in to make that challenge, and it was just really easy. And I'm hating these games because I keep losing records. I think I could still hold on to that 13 goals, but I'll tell you what, that might go. I'm telling you, if there was probably 15 minutes, I reckon that'll go too.
Sit tight there, Arch. I'll give you a premium too for scoring 5 in a grand final.
Exactly.
A bit of a difference.
Thanks, Andy.
That was against 10 men as well, wasn't it? Adelaide United. Red card for Ross Aloisi in that grand final. Offside against Berenguer in the 90th minute here.
First offside of the second half. All the ball they've had has been 11 v 11. There was that chance for Bremer early. could have, should have scored it. Victory up 1. I mean, you're on another planet for even suggesting it. And whatever ascendancy that Jake Brimmer had represented with that chance on goal didn't last long.
Well, they often say that form goes out the window heading into any derby in world football, but that certainly isn't the case in the Melbourne derby this season.
Melbourne Victory have played like the worst team in the comp. When does the radical surgery start? Here's a mark.
Look at this space. Acton and Dylan Ryan combined to do enough. Tilio shot down by Storm Root.
That might have been a card as well. Storm has dodged a couple. Tilio teasing him again.
The Melbourne Victory copping 7 for the first time in club history. They have received 6 goals before twice against Sydney FC, and then in the most recent derby against City. It couldn't be 8, could it? Adrian Luna, wow, it was a bizarre look off the boot, and in this stoppage time period it remains 7.
Yeah, this is an odd one from Luna.
There's confirmation of the stoppage time that the 4th official put up. Just 1 more minute of misery for the Victory.
Yeah, that's smacks of let's just get out of here. 5 goals in the second half. A lot of subs normally would add up to more than 3 minutes. The unofficial mercy rule has been enacted.
Matt Acton has kept that scoreline from getting to double figures, perhaps. Is there one final chance to create here for City? Another little no-look pass from Tilio. Plays with such a swagger. Doesn't leave his teenage years behind until August. An historic night. The 34th Melbourne derby sees Jamie Maclaren score 5 to go to 19 for the season. It's elation for City and humiliation for the Victory, who copped 7 for the first time in A-League history. A quite remarkable scoreline. It's 13 goals without reply in 2 derbies this season, and Grant Brebner has a resigned look about it. Paddy Kisnorvo's side go top of the A-League pile. The Melbourne Victory very much in the cellar. Full time at Amy Park. It is Melbourne City 7, the Melbourne Victory 0. Andy Harper, start to put that into some perspective.
Well, there is no perspective, but that's got to be it. I mean, you cannot ask your fans to continue accepting this. It's just a complete collapse against a very good team. But they gathered in good numbers. They cheered and sang and they tried to do their bit. And you could only begin to imagine the frustration of the Melbourne Victory fans, who'll stick with the team, there's no question, but they'll want a response from the club.
Anthony Di Pietro and the board may well be discussing it as we speak. You saw Grant Brebner walk past The likes of Paul Trimboli, who's been around the club for so long, and there were no words spoken. I don't know where to look at the moment, the victory, as we go down to Michael Zapponi.
Well, perhaps I should look at the man next to me, Archie Thompson. He found that really tough, that last 10 minutes. I've never seen Archie so shaken, Brenton, and it's hard to watch for a legend of the club.
Yeah, certainly. And, you know, I'm in Fox Sports now, so you've got to try to sit on the fence with a lot of things. But I'm obviously a Melbourne Victory through and through. I played for the club since day dot. I've been through some pretty amazing times, ups and downs. But for me, from watching that, and I'm guessing from supporters' point of view, this is probably the lowest I've ever seen the club. I know it's... I try to see positives, especially from the positive from last week. I'm a positive person, but at the moment, it's hard to see it. And, you know, you just have to hear it from the fans, the way that they was... I can't obviously say what they were screaming, but they were certainly things that weren't something that I've heard from a Melbourne Victory point of view, and things need to be changed, because I'm looking out there and the way that there was the defending, the application. I don't want to kick players when they're down, because I've been in positions like that before, but just show a bit of heart. And just unfortunate, it didn't seem to be like that. And you could see the players going over now. The fans don't want a bar of it, and I can see why, because that performance is not suitable for any Melbourne Victory team.
Yeah, it's a tough one for them. We'll come back to that point. Archie Thompson making the point that Melbourne Victory needs to make a change, but we have got Jamie Maclaren with us. 5 goals for Jamie Maclaren tonight. An unbelievable performance. He now joins Archie Thompson, ironically standing next to him tonight as the only player in the A-League to ever score 5 goals in a game. Congratulations, Jamie.
Thank you. We said before the game that to keep the same belief that we did last time at Marvel Stadium, and we did. You know, the first half going in at 2-0, we knew that they were going to come out again, and we just took our chances tonight. Like I said, we were clinical, and look, the boys at the back were fantastic. I'm not too sure how many shots they had.
And look, yeah, the second half, I mean, it took you a little while to sort of get going, but once you got that one, the floodgates coming, could you just feel it within the team? It's like, okay, let's put the foot to the jugular right now.
Yeah, look, we said that, and you know, I had so many people this morning tell me I was going to score a hat-trick, so I kind of had a dream when I had a nap this afternoon, and you always get that feeling in your stomach, Arch, you know how it is, and coming today and scoring 5 goals was a proud moment, and just great to celebrate with my family.
It's funny you should say you had a dream and you had a nap today, because before the grand final, Archie Thompson, I distinctly remember you telling us all those years ago that you dreamed that you were going to score a hat-trick that day.
Yeah, well, look, that was probably more ego than anything else, but I just think the form that this boy's shown is amazing, and look, credit to you, because at the moment, just you don't seem to miss, but I talk about your all-round game. I know that we keep talking about, like, you know, the way you score goals, and I feel like we have this conversation all the time, but it's your all-round play. I mean, you didn't have too many opportunities in the first half, but it was that link-up play. Is that something, again, that's been worked on even more?
It is, Arch, and I think it helps when you've got such good players behind you. You know, they trust me to come in the pockets, and they'll run in behind, and, you know, they'll play around me and get off me, and Connor and Luna in the first half were fantastic, and like I said, the boys that came on were awesome. So it's a credit to the boys around me. I think that's why they make me look so good.
2-0 at half-time. The ruthlessness that we've seen from your club this year was evident in that second half. Is it easy just to go into your shell when you're 2-0, a man up? Yeah. Is that coming from the coach or on the field as well?
Yeah, look, a bit of complacency can creep in sometimes, and you know, when they go down to 10 men, sometimes teams that have 10 men actually try harder, and it's hard to break them down. But look, I said we were clinical tonight. The boys that came on, and obviously myself scoring the goals, and it's one of those games that we thought we were going to have another 6-0, but now it's 7-0. So it's a great performance.
Well done, Jamie. Enjoy the win tonight.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Yeah, outstanding performance by Jamie Maclaren. 19 goals extraordinary in 16 games this season. Let's turn our attention back to Melbourne Victory, because that is another of the big stories tonight. This is the players going over to the fans. The North Terrace tonight, we're in massive numbers here, Archie, and full credit to those Melbourne Victory supporters who were chanting for a good 85 minutes, and then it just all imploded. This is the reaction of the North Terrace tonight, and you sort of can't blame them.
Well, you can't, because they pay good money to watch good football, and unfortunately we haven't seen that at all this season. I mean, we have glimpses of it, but when I'm saying glimpses, it's maybe 15-20 minutes in a game. It's not a consistent thing, and it's hard to really see where this is going to turn. I just feel like the quality's just not there, and you talk about recruitment. Maybe the recruitment wasn't there. But look, for Grant Brebner, it's going to be difficult to see him. Hopefully, stay on. I mean, he's a good mate of mine, and I don't want anyone to lose their job because, it's a tough gig to be a manager because there's a lot of expectations that get put on you, and it's always the finger's going to be pointed at you when the results aren't going their way. But man, the players have got to do something too, and unfortunately, I'm not seeing it.
Well, we did give Melbourne Victory the opportunity to speak to us tonight, and the head coach, Grant Brebner, was invited on to speak to us, and they've declined that opportunity. So that says a lot, Archie, and just like the last derby. But we are very pleased to welcome the winning coach, Patrick Kisnorbo. You've done it, 13 goals in 2 games against the Melbourne Victory. If I'd said that to you at the start of the season, you might have looked at me with a funny look. Congratulations, it's an amazing effort.
Yeah, look, I think, minus the result, which, for me, it's not a big thing. I'm really happy with the way the boys played, but I think second half was sloppy. But we were lucky enough to turn things around and, really followed the process that we set out in training to do this week.
Can I pick you up on that the result's not important? In the context of this season and what it means for Melbourne Victory, I think it is important. You put them to the sword.
Result meaning the goals. Okay, the scoreline's a scoreline, but that's not our biggest sort of motivation. We have a process that we want to follow, and we stick to it. We believe in what we do, but we work hard for it.
There was a moment in the second half when I seen you look over. I think the fourth goal went in, and you looked over at Tommy Glover and you said, mate, switch on. Is that the sort of intensity that you want to keep instilling in your players, that whole 90 minutes, regardless of what the score is?
Yeah, and that's the thing, as we know, we've played there. Concentration is more than 90 minutes, and it's just a reminder that don't worry about the score, you've still got a job to do. So, and that was the main focus and message, at half time.
And I don't see you smile too often, but I did see you look up a few times after the goals were coming in thick and fast. You did have a little smile and you pointed up in there. Was that normal for you? Or?
No, it was the subs that we put on. Again, I'm really happy with the impact that the subs and they played their part, and it's great to have Aidan O'Neill back from such a long time out.
So you did smile?
At the subs, it was a good time to change him.
I mentioned during the call, Patrick, that I felt like tonight was a changing of the guard here in Melbourne. For so many years, Melbourne Victory and Melbourne City played derbies here. Even when Melbourne City played home games here, the Melbourne Victory supporters far outnumbered the Melbourne City supporters. Yes, your team on top. Yes, Melbourne Victory's on the bottom. But tonight was the first time in those 34 appearances that the Melbourne City fans far outnumbered the Melbourne Victory fans. It just feels like there is a shift happening. Do you see it?
To be honest with you, not really.